All right, so we gapped up higher yesterday. We touched 280 right on the open. There was a little bit of selling pressure there, and we got below 279.40 or so. Accelerated to the downside. Pretty clean gap fill, and almost tagged the low from Friday. Second leg down was pretty good. Took us to 277. Then kind of had this flush out down to around here. I was actually off the desk in a meeting when this happened, but I did put in a script before I left the desk to buy 276.30. So that worked pretty well. We bounced up about a buck and change into the close. And this morning we're gapping up right here where this second down leg started. So this down move here was definitely more severe than the one we had, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? Let's take a look. It was last week. We topped out at 275. We have the $2 down move, bottomed on the open, and then
Roku ROKU announcing a new ad insight suite.
Then resume the uptrend. So I think it's a little bit more severe than we saw from 275, but again, we had gone up. We were a little, we'd gone up further. So I think you have to assume, like we've been saying for, 6 months, a year now, we've seen a lot of these intraday, one-day downtrends, but we really haven't seen much in the way of follow-through. So it doesn't mean we can't fail right here on the open at 278.50 and make a higher low at, let's say, 277.50, $1.30 off yesterday's low. But until we see some closes, I would say below 277, I wouldn't really be thinking much of a deeper pull in maybe to this area down here. So that is on that. On the IWM, this one didn't really, it sold off just as, well, not on a higher percentage basis, around the same amount of dollars. It came into, I guess, this 156 where that second leg of the breakout was a few days ago. Looking at it today, let's zoom in a little bit. All right, so we're gapping up to 157.25. It's been support 157.10. We touched that in the pre-market on Friday. Actually, 157.20. This is a late. It's showing this right here. This is a late print from yesterday, obviously being reported now. It's really trading up here above 157. I guess, if we got a consolidation around this 157 area this morning for the first half hour and then either broke to the upside or broke to the downside below 156.90, I'd make that trade. That'd be a decent trade. Are you having any trouble seeing the chart of IWM right now? I'm just getting a weird message on my platform. All right, so let's go to Halo. All right, so Halo, there was some sort of compilation of studies looking for whether or not there was impact on a drug across these different regimens, and they said that there was no difference in these various treatments. So Halo initially reacted really negatively to that. I guess some prints were down here in the 15 area. It's now bounced to buck and change, or 2 bucks and change. Let's take a look at that. So the bid right now is 17.20. So it's above this. So earlier it was down here. Now it's above this and it's below 18. All right, so on the open, what did I put on the sheet? 1670. So we want to watch this support here we had the support here for a few weeks before it made the highs, double topped here at 21. We want to watch if it pops up to 18 for sellers to come in. This little band right here. It's already traded 165,000 shares pre-market. A lot of the volume came in when it started to hold above this 1670. So clearly people are trading it off of the daily chart. Buyer stepped in here at 1670 and couldn't quite get to 18, but now it's making the buyers are stepping up above 17. So it does look like it's going to try to make a push here to 18 on the open. Question is, does that motivate enough sellers to come in and we then get the move back down to pre-market lows? So that's my thought process on that. It's not going to be nearly as liquid as MRK was yesterday. It's not going to be nearly the size of the range. It could be a pretty decent stock. The next one is ADNT. They guided lower. So here's the daily on this one. So I have this breakout. Let's see where we are in the pre-market. So anyway, just looking at this coming into this, a lot of people obviously are long from above $78 here. So this could be pretty nasty today in terms of not bouncing, or people trying to get out and really pushing it down further than we might expect. So you can see initially it came down into the 78 area where it was accumulated before, and the gap down this morning below 78. So any type of spike anywhere close to this 78 area seems like, from a risk reward perspective, phenomenal. We may not get that bounce up there. We may just see a failure to even take out this pre-market resistance. Let's see, what do we have on the downside? 72. So 72. We come down to 74 here back in mid-November. And the breakout was here, consolidated, you can see for a while at 72, and then it had that straight shot up into the 80s. So it does seem if the selling pressure comes in on the open, this is on the menu right here, this area, 72.5 to 72. Maybe it even overshoots to the downside from there. So this could be really ugly, really nasty. It normally does 700,000 shares. Let's see, what's the most it's done here? It's done 2.7 million. If you go all the way back to when it IPO'd, it did over 5 million, but I could see it doing over 3 million shares today, more than 4 times its normal volume. So we want to have alerts into 76, and then some alerts up at 77.5, 78, in case it's able to actually break through here. But if you see it come to 76 and there's a lot of selling pressure there, you want to short with sellers. Next one is XON. They filed for a secondary, so we don't know anything on pricing yet. We just know that they need to raise some money. So it had run up from 11 to 14, and then it made a higher low here at 12.30, went to 15. So I guess they like that 30% up move. Yesterday it got hammered. It might have just been a little bit of the market. But they filed now, so you got this kind of I put 1270 on there. I put 1230 and 1250.
The approval of the acquisition of Biotest by Chinese Korea.
So I'm using this little band right here. And clearly there's some pretty bad things going on in this thing recently. It went from 15 down to 10. Stabilize. Did make a higher low here on the daily. The fact that they're raising money down at these levels is not great for them. So wouldn't surprise me if it actually flushed through the recent low here at 12 and a half, 1230. Maybe even if, I'd use 1230 as downside target. Maybe even it overshoots a little bit there, down closer to 12. It's another one that I would definitely be shorting on the open. Looks like I already got the 1330. Anywhere above there in this area right here, or play down to here. Fast. So we usually take a look at this one then when they report. One of the earliest reports. The interesting thing to me about this one is the numbers were good and they raised their dividend. It's not acting well. So in that case, the first thing I look at is to see how much did it run up into earnings. So back at the beginning of December, it ran up from the high 40s to the mid 50s. Maybe in their conference call they said the corporate tax cut wasn't going to help them that much. I mean, that would be the most logical thing. Assuming that the tax cut here, like a lot of this move here was the tax cut. So that would make sense. Let's give them back if they're not raising guidance based on that. So 52 and a half. What do I have on there? Yeah, 52 and a half, 53 as resistance. Support, which is right here. And then, by the way, that theme might actually play out a lot when earnings season starts to roll around. If we have stocks that ran up right around the time when they passed the tax legislation, which is right around Christmas, I believe, right before Christmas. Trump signed it, I think the day before, 2 days before Christmas. If you see that type of run up, and then you see solid earnings from a company the next couple of weeks, and they're not guiding higher, you see negative reaction, that's a pretty big tell. So let's watch and see what the patterns are here. 54, what do we have here? 54 and a half, 55. Let's see if this thing pops back up above 54. Let's see how it behaves up here. And does it get back down below 54? And maybe it gets sold. People are like, oh shit, we had this big run up here. The tax thing's not helping them. Our thesis is wrong. Let's get the hell out. MRK. So MRK was phenomenal yesterday. Right on the open. I got long. Actually went down a little bit first. So I got long into the spike down here. It went down to 61.30. Didn't look great. And when it popped back up, there was somebody selling it at 61.60 for a while. I think I was watching something else right here, so I didn't buy this bar, which kind of was annoying. But then I just bought here above 62, which was fine. And a quick move into 62 and a half, consolidated at another like to 63. Once it got above 63, I thought it was starting to get overextended. So I was more focused on the short, especially when you look longer term. I really thought around the 63.30. If you want to be honest about it, I thought 63.30 to 63.50 was like a dream short, and tried it. Didn't get back down below 63.30. Covered some more above the half, and finally it had a blow off top here. It finally had the big red bar, consolidated, and came back down to. Had its point down move. So I was thinking at this point maybe it would actually start to bounce and come back up into this area or something like that. Started to bounce, but then hit a lower low. So And again, the reason why I was thinking about shorting once it got over here is we know that it has a $1.20 ATR. It was already at that point up, I don't know, 3 ATRs or something. It ended up topping out up around 4 ATRs and had a 2 ATR retracement. But again, for an active trader who is looking for something to move but also have a really tight spread, this was the definition. It did get eventually, so I did, I guess, catch, I remember if I caught this. Actually, I think I did catch this up new. So it did eventually, when it came back down to that 62.30, it did pop back up above 63 and failed. So we did get that. And then eventually, let's see what it did. Eventually came back down to 62. So 62 is your inflection this morning. Above 62, you can play for a move back up to 62.70, 63. Holding below 62, you can look for it to pull back in to 61.5, 61.60, something like that. But overall, from an intraday perspective, was great yesterday. So it was a good choice for the number one stock. UNH, I shorted on the open yesterday, and then I held it. Held a little bit of it. It came quickly off $3. I covered most of it. Came back up here. I wasn't really watching. But despite the weakness in the market, it actually tried to break out to the upside. And then at the end of the day, when it closed down here in the 232s, I held that last little piece. I got an upgrade to, I think, like a 280 target today or 290 or something like that. So it's gapping up. But what we want to see is right on the open, is the first move down below 234? If it is, maybe it will actually come back down into the support area. If the first move is up and it holds above 236, then you could actually see some good follow through today. Maybe 237, 238, something like that. OSTK. So OSTK did the same thing again. I know we've talked about this a few times recently, but I want to keep on going with it because it's just watching as this downtrend unfolds. So again, it again had a big pop on the open. I think I called it out around 76.5 or so. My alert went off. It topped out at 77, and then hit the downside of the 70 target. Almost actually did hit 68. So it's getting pretty close. Let's go to the daily. So it kind of hit the top of this range here, 67.5, 68. But if it has another big red day today, let's say fails at 71.72 on the open and takes out yesterday's low and comes into 66, I would say, this area right here, 66 or so. I think this is a bigger picture area where it could kind of actually form a base again and bounce back up to $80. So it's still in a very big uptrend. So last time we went vertical to 80, it pulled into below 60. Made the lower high and then pulled into 61.5 and made your new high. So this will be the same thing here, bottoming process here. You want to see some close after mid-60s back above 70, 72. But certainly playing 75 calls a month out when it's at 65 would probably be a good way to go. Buy the 75, sell the 90, something like that. Or buy the 75, sell the 85s. So that's that. I want to just take a quick look at BABA. Yesterday was the first time I actually didn't short it when it got to 190, 192. Signal does not want to cooperate here, so we won't. So the thing with BABA is it's now failed 7 times between 191 and 192 since its all-time high there in November. You want to continue to use that as just an area to sell it. So you can see it's done it now 3 times or 4 times recently in the last couple of weeks. And you know, normally when it gets to a resistance area, it'll come off $2 to $4. But yesterday with the market sell-off, it came off $10. So we'll continue to use that. Now, if it pops back up here to the bottom of the range, 188, 189, such a hard sell-off, I would look to see if it actually fails right here. As always, be patient and good luck.
Hope you enjoyed that video. You can actually watch that video if you're subscribed to our Trader 90 before the market even opens. What stocks are in play? What levels in those stocks are important? And how we might go about attacking that stock. That's Steve Spencer, 20-year veteran trader, laying it out there every morning before the market even opens. A really, really powerful tool to start your session off on the right foot. So right now we're offering a trial that you can take advantage of to access this meeting and other meetings throughout the day. We have a meeting at 11 a.m. Eastern where you can sit down with Mike Bellafiore and listen to him talk about what's going on during the morning session, what stocks were in play, what the best trade opportunities were, as well as maybe some things that we're looking at heading into the afternoon session. So I really encourage you to take advantage of that trial.